Hello everyone, and thank you for watching VATV. My name is Han Nguyen, I'm your host today. VATV is the voice of the Vietnamese Americans in the city of Boston. It's sponsored by VietAid, Vietnamese American Initiative for Development. You can watch us live every Wednesday evening from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Channel 9 if you have Comcast, and Channel 15 if you have RCN. You can also go on to bnntv.org to watch us live, and if you happen to miss our live television program, it will be rebroadcast on Sunday at 5 p.m., Monday at 1 p.m., and Tuesday at 11 a.m. To watch any of our TV shows, please go on to our home website at vietay.org. For today's program, as we all know about the upcoming election on November 5th for City Council at Large, it's our pleasure to have Michael Flaherty here, a candidate number 4 for City Council at Large. Hi, Michael.
Thank you, Han. Thanks for having me here on VATV.
Thank you. How are you today?
Everything's great. Busy day. We're trying to put everything into the final 6 days, so looking forward to Tuesday, November 5th. So it's 6 days away. So around this time, we'll probably get a sense as to whether or not we're fortunate to get elected back to the Boston City Council.
That sounds very exciting. Can you please introduce yourself and why you're running for Boston City Council at Large?
Sure. For those that do not know me, my name is Michael Flaherty, candidate for Boston City Council at Large, lifelong resident of the city of Boston, attended Boston College High School, Boston College, Boston University School of Law, served as an assistant district attorney in Suffolk County, was also elected to the city council after defeating the legendary Dapper O'Neill back in 2000, sworn in 2000. Served on the council for 10 years, 5 as council president, and then ran for mayor in 2009. So I've been out of municipal government for 4 years and looking for an opportunity to get back, given that we are in the middle of a mayor's race. It's an exciting time for our city. For the first time in 20 years, we will have a new mayor. And if there's ever a time where we need an experienced member of the council to keep the council focused on city business, but also to help usher in a new administration, I would say that it's this year. And so we had a very strong preliminary finish on September the 24th. We did extremely well across the city in every neighborhood, and I think people know me. They know my work ethic. They know that I represent all of Boston's neighborhoods, and particularly the Vietnamese community. Obviously, the diversity is a great strength of Boston. The Vietnamese community lends a great hand to Boston's diversity, and so I've got great relationships in the community. I do very well in the Vietnamese community, and looking forward to getting back to City Hall so I could work for the Vietnamese community once again.
That sounds good. So sounds like you already have a lot of experience from the past work. And from the view of a former city council at large, how should a city council should work with the new mayor of Boston?
Obviously, there should be a shared, there is a shared responsibility to make our city the best it could be, but hopefully there'll be, the council will be working collectively and identifying priorities, but also, again, having a shared vision and a partnership with the mayor. And clearly, the council is designed to obviously be supportive of that. At the same time, it's also designed to be a checks and balances. So if we agree with the mayor and we want to work together, but are there instances where there's a policy initiative or there's a difference of opinion, the council's there to put the brakes on behalf of the residents of our city. So at the end of the day, you want to work, and I think the people expect that people will work collaboratively and in partnership. I've developed a reputation of being a consensus builder, a bridge builder. So I'm looking forward to, quite frankly, I'm very excited to be able to work with the new mayor, whether it's Marty or John. And again, it's not about any one individual person, it's about our city and working together to make Boston the best city that it can be.
Yes, I totally agree. Given that Dorchester, and especially Fields Corner, downtown of Dorchester, has been a home of more than 15,000 Vietnamese American, with more than 200 Vietnamese owned and operated businesses along Dorchester Ave, what will you do as a city councilor at large to help make Fields Corner a destination for culture and business?
Obviously, lots of things. I mean, the Vietnamese community, like every other community in our city, want good quality schools for their children. They want safe and clean neighborhoods. They want to make sure that there's access to economic opportunity, and they also want an affordable place to live. And as you know, Boston's becoming a very expensive city to live in. We're becoming a city of the very rich and the very poor. We're almost Manhattanizing ourselves. But one of the things that's consistent is our small local businesses, they're the lifeline of our communities, and having a diverse business district which supports communities is what everyone wants. And so streamlining the process, the permitting process, to help make it easier for those to start a new business or for an existing business to expand. Those are some of the things that the City Council can and will play a role in, particularly if I'm fortunate to get elected there. And so sitting down with community residents to find out what the needs of that community are, and the services and the businesses that they would like to see in their local business district, and then working with elected leaders, community residents in the main streets and city officials to make sure that that becomes a reality. If you have a business district that has too many of one thing and not, again, a diverse business district so that they're servicing the needs of the community, more often than not, people will leave, and then you'll start to see storefronts close, and you'll see boarded up or abandoned buildings. That's never a good thing for a neighborhood. So identifying the needs of a community and then helping businesses get up and get started would be, and as you know, those that have small businesses or those that are looking to start a small business, to do so in Boston is very cumbersome. Lots of red tape, lots of different departments. It should be a one-stop shop. If you want to start a business in Boston, if you have a great idea, if you have financing, we should be rolling out the red carpet and working with you to get you up and running. The average small business takes anywhere from 10 months to sometimes 2 years to get open and get started in Boston, and that's way too long in terms of trying to help people, and that's an investment in the community. When a small business wants to come in, or even a big business, when they want to come in and put a stake in the ground and call Boston, or in this instance Dorchester or Fields Corner, their home, we should be rallying around them to make sure that we're doing the best we can to help them start their business and grow their business, because local small businesses oftentimes hire local people, and when you're hiring local people and they're spending their hard-earned money back into the local district and the local business, that's a great thing, and that we should be doing more of that.
All right. Dear audience, you can call in at 617-708-3290 to ask questions directly to Michael Flaherty. And also, I've read on the internet, and you make it very clear that education plays a significant role in your campaign.
Sure.
As we all know, students in Boston public schools speak more than 80 languages, and about 1/3 are English language learners. Therefore, are struggling to get an education and be prepared for college or entering into the workforce. Do you have any thoughts or plans to help them?
Sure. Obviously, I think given that we have an achievement gap that currently exists in our Boston public schools, and it adversely impacts English language learners, I think we need to revamp the English language learning portion of our
I'm sorry, someone on the phone right now would love to ask you a question. So.
Good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Yes, my name is Jacob. I live in Roxbury.
Hi, Jacob.
And my question is for your guest. Why isn't there a constitutional amendment for city council members, or matter of fact, for any government official, to just have a 2-term limit, no 3, 4, and 5, and so on limits, sir?
Sure. So I guess is the question, why don't we have term limits? And which is I support term limits for office of mayor. I think that either 2 or 3 terms is sufficient. I would also like to see the city council run coterminous with the mayor. And so that we have elections like we just had, where there are 12 people running for mayor, 19 people running for city council. It was the largest and most diverse field of candidates in recent time, with a spirited exchange of new ideas and new energy and excitement, and truly reflective of the changing face of Boston. So I fully support, if the caller is asking why don't we, that's a great question. That's either a ballot initiative or has to happen from, obviously, self-serving. It can't happen from elected officials, but I think if the people of Boston want to have term limits for office of mayor, they should be asking the 2 candidates that are currently running as to whether or not they would support that. But more importantly, to start a ballot initiative to get it on the ballot, and also to work with the legislature to make sure that term limits become a reality. So it's a great question. It's a great call. And if we're fortunate to have it passed, then we won't see days of sort of 4-term, 5-term, possibly 6-term mayors. I think when you're in office that long, it can be unhealthy, particularly in a strong mayor form of government.
Yes.
But I also want strong participation at the council level as well. And this presents a unique opportunity. For this the first time in 20 years, the council has an opportunity to almost reinvent itself to become an equal partner in city government, and that's going to be really up to the will and the skill set of individual members. And so
Yes.
I obviously am on the record of supporting term limits for office of mayor. Had I had the good fortune of running and winning, I was going to limit myself to 2 terms. But that said, that's up to the public to make that an issue for the council and for mayor to make a decision as to whether or not they support that. And I think it is healthy to keep it coterminous because you get more participation, more civic engagement. Because what happens now is you're going to have a big election. We're going to elect a new mayor and several members of the Boston City Council.
Yes.
It's important to note that 5 members of the council ran for mayor. 4 of them are giving up their seats to run for mayor. So there is going to be significant turnover at the council level. But in order to obviously keep people engaged, this is obviously going to be a higher turnout than normal. Then next year, or the next municipal elections, which will be in 2 years, turnout will be extremely low because it will be considered what's called an off-year election. We're going to expend thousands of dollars in precious city funds to carry out an election where turnout in most neighborhoods is going to be under 10%. So it's a great question by the caller. We should have term limits.
So yeah, going back to the struggle that the kids have in education about preparing to go to the college and entering to the workforce, can you share some more
Sure.
of your thoughts?
So we had talked a little bit about before the caller called in is like the
Yes.
English language learners, and there's a huge issue, and we're failing our students, and we've actually been sort of reprimanded at the federal level for not doing enough to again address English language learners and closing the achievement gap. But the thing that also bothers me is that we have the best colleges and universities in the world
Yes.
that call Boston their home, yet the children of Boston, the kids that live in our neighborhoods, that attend the Boston public schools, unless they go to Latin Academy, or the John D. O'Brien, or if they're fortunate to go to a school that I went to, which is BC High, they'll never have a chance of having any hope and opportunity of sitting in those classrooms, getting those degrees, and competing in the global economy. So while kids of Boston know where these schools are, they drive by them. They actually probably watch some of the sporting events on TV, and to have kids that have no sense of connection. That we have to reverse that trend. We need to provide better service for our students, which is improving the quality, so that they can actually compete at that level. But what I think we need is a year 13 for serious students who graduated from high school, but who are falling short on their SAT scores or didn't get into these great schools, to do 1 additional year of an intense college prep course load, partnered with our colleges under the pilot program, and also our Boston Public School system and teachers, and give them 1 year of intense college prep training so that they can compete and get into these schools. And when they're in there, they'll be able to actually stay in there. And what happens now is not a lot of kids from Boston get to go to these great schools, particularly those that attend the Boston Public High Schools. And again, unless you go to one of the exam schools. And again,
Yes.
it's a travesty, and it's extremely disappointing. We can and must do better than that. It's not just enough that a kid gets a high school diploma. We need to follow that kid
Right.
onto college. And again, college is not for everyone. We need to have a bona fide trade school with direct pathways to our building trades and to our service industry, so that we're training the next generation of auto mechanics and chefs and technicians. That's all a big part of this. But for those that do want to go to college, I think it's extremely frustrating that we have the best colleges in the world right here in our city, but kids in our neighborhood, kids from Fields Corner, kids from South Boston, kids from Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan, East Boston, cannot get into these schools. But yet we continue to allow these schools to take precious Boston property off of the tax rolls, giving us really pennies on the dollar, and then shifting the tax burden further to property owners and to residential property owners. And at the same time, we have kids that can't get into these schools, and if they do get in, they don't last long because they can't compete because they're not prepared. We need to prepare Boston kids that go to the Boston Public Schools to be able to compete at the highest level. We need to have standards of excellence, and we need to start preparing kids for the global economy.
So you mentioned So basically your concern is the transitional phase from high school to the best colleges.
Yeah, so when I went to school, we called it PG, we called it postgraduate, and really kids at PG, they did it for sports reasons. You know, if they wanted to play Division I hockey or Division I football or play in the Big East, colleges would recruit you for athletic purposes, and then they would ask you to PG a year because they wanted you to get stronger or faster or taller, and they might have thought that you needed an extra year of maturity. And in some instances, kids would be doing it for academic purposes, but for the most part, kids I went to school with that PG'd were really doing it for athletic purposes so that they could get into a Division I school. I would like to see a refocus on that. I would like to see that that kid that graduates from a local high school that has the diploma and they walk off the stage, that we actually take it a step further and we find out where they got into school. In many instances, they didn't get into school, or they didn't get into the school of their choice, or they didn't get into a school that calls Boston their home, but would very much like to go to one of these great schools. We have and provide one additional year of postgraduate, it's called year 13, of an intense college prep course load to help them get up to speed, critical reading and writing, so that they can compete and score better on the SAT and hopefully compete to get a scholarship.
Yes.
Because a lot of these colleges and universities that call Boston their home have scholarship funds, but our kids can't compete to get them.
There's a call
Sure.
for you.
Hello?
Hello,
Yes, hi, how you doing?
how are you?
I'm good. My question is this. What happens if a kid doesn't want to go to college, and college is so expensive right now? How come Boston as a city doesn't have any trade schools for these kids to go to? Suppose they don't want to go to college. Is there another alternative besides college?
And it's a great question. I guess the gold standard of trade schools is actually in Worcester. And given that Boston's the birthplace of public education, home to some of the greatest institutions, I would hope that we could revamp Boston trade. I've met so many people that said if it wasn't for Boston Tech, I'd be dead or in jail, and the same holds true today. We need, as I mentioned before the caller called, that we need a bona fide trade school with a direct pathway to our trades and to our service industry for mechanics and technicians. And so my hope is with a new mayor, there will be a renewed focus on, again, a bona fide trade school. Keep in mind, over the last 10 to 12 years, we've really been focusing on the MCAS. We've been teaching to the MCAS. It's the high-stakes MCAS test that allows one to graduate, has completely changed our focus on sort of educating that well-rounded student. To the caller's point, college isn't for everyone. While we would love everyone to go to college, to get a college degree, and to go on and to compete in the global economy, financial services, innovation, technology, life sciences, healthcare, all of those great industries that are doing phenomenal work here in our city. I also know that there are those that face barriers to employment opportunities because they have a Corey, or because they don't have a high school diploma, or they didn't get into college and don't have a college degree. So we need to find job opportunities. I believe the jobs exist. We need to connect those that are looking for work or those that face barriers to employment. And I think having a bona fide trade school that is a direct link either to our building trades or to our service economy or to our green, our new emerging green economy would be a great way. Those are good jobs, good paying jobs with benefits that the kid that doesn't want to go out. And the other part is that college for a lot of working families is cost prohibitive. To go to my alma mater, I want to say it's close to $60,000 a year, maybe a little more than that. What kid or what family? So now you have a kid that actually is on a student loan, comes out and is now strapped with a loan, it's the size of a mortgage. That also is going to prevent kids from going on to college. So there are a number of factors. The caller is absolutely correct. We need to sort of revisit and revamp sort of our trade school and also connect it to real pathways. It's not enough that you just go to a trade school and you get a degree in mechanic or wood shopping or ironworking or electrical. You need to obviously have a direct link to an employment opportunity. I think that my hope is I'm hearing both mayoral candidates talking about it. I know it's been an issue in the council race and the debates, and so I hope that collective effort around this will revamp what I think we've missed. You look at the last 10 years, we've missed a lot of opportunities, and that's one area that the caller mentions that we should have been really focusing on revamping our trade school, because we had a great one years ago, Boston Tech, Boston Trade, and now that when you look around and you see who's doing what, you learn that Worcester, which nothing against Worcester, I'm going to get parochial, I'm a Boston guy, Worcester is, I think, the gold standard when it comes to sort of vocational, technical, trade high schools. We can do better, for sure. So the caller makes a great point, and I'd love to get his thoughts if he cares to share more.
Thank you for a very specific answer.
Yeah.
So going back to the education, so you mentioned that the kids in Boston area, even though we have a lot of nice, good colleges, but the kids here are not well prepared enough to get in. Do you have any thoughts on what is happening in the Boston Public High School that fail in helping the kids to get in those schools?
Well, if you think about the fact that tens of thousands of students come here every year from around the world,
Yes.
Coming from great schools, with great school districts, with smaller class size, extended school day, strict, rigorous academic standards, a focus on academic excellence, and yet when you come to Boston, clearly it's clear that we can and must do better. So have we made strides? No doubt about it, we've made strides. Can we do better? Absolutely. Particularly given that, again, we have some of the greatest schools in the world. And we don't have just one or two schools. We have a couple dozen schools, from Berkeley School of Music to Wentworth to Simmons to Emerson. I mean, I could, Northeast, I could just name a list of them.
Yes.
UMass Boston. So we got great sort of academic institutions that are right here in our city. And kids come from all over the world. And yet,
Yes.
if you live in Dorchester or Mission Hill or Jamaica Plain or Alston Brighton, I mean, you can see them, you drive by them, you know where they are, you know people that have gone there, but having no sense. So that's where we must do better. And I think that renewing our focus, having that, instead of just teaching to the MCAS, have that well-rounded student that includes art, music, civics, physical education, smaller class size, extended school day, and also something I proposed on the council, which I'm going to revisit if I'm fortunate to get reelected, is SAT prep for all of our high school students. We partnered with a company several years ago that they provided for free as a trial SAT prep for our high school students who wanted to do that. And if anyone knows anything about the SAT, when I took the SAT, time management, elimination of choices, and test-taking conditions play a huge role in helping one do well and succeed on that SAT test. So you have a high-stakes SAT, which determines whether you get into college or not, whether you get into the school of your choice or not, and whether you can compete for a scholarship or not. It's a high-stakes SAT test. We put more focus on the MCAS test than we do on the SAT test, and I would prefer that our high schools partner with the appropriate SAT prep programs and make sure that we're putting our best foot forward for our children, for the students, to give them the best chance to compete at the highest levels, and that currently doesn't happen. So while we've made progress and you can point to success stories, we need more success stories. We need more progress, faster progress. We need strict academic standards. We need great quality teachers. We need more quality schools. I mean, that's all part of that whole rising tide. But why other school districts or why other destinations are succeeding and helping get their kids into these great schools, the onus is on us to do a better job.
Okay. So finally, and this is a very important question, why should we, as a Bostonians, as a Vietnamese, vote for you?
Well, I have a track record of standing with the Vietnamese community, whether it was around the Vietnamese flag being recognized, whether it was helping out with the community when they were in need of additional services, whether it was more police services or more basic city services. They know that I stand with them at a lot of their annual cultural events that happen. So I think I have a reputation within the Vietnamese community as being a true friend of the Vietnamese community. I've always done very well.
Yes.
I've got good lasting friendships and relationships there that I cherish and hope to, again, go back to work for the entire community. They know that I show up. They know that I roll up the sleeves and dive in on those tough, thorny issues that mean a great deal to your community. At the same time, they may or may not be, sort of an attractive, sexy option for someone to get involved with, but they can always count on me. And I think my track record as being a responsible and responsive city councilor citywide, when you're an at-large councilor, you truly have to represent all 22 wards, 255 precincts. I've demonstrated the ability to do that, and I think that was evidenced with the strong preliminary vote that we got on September the 24th. So my hope is that folks get out to vote It's a very important election. We elect a new mayor. We get to elect your district councilor. You get to elect up to 4 citywide at-large councilors, and it's my hope that folks will remember my name and my face and know that they can depend on me, know that they call my office, they get a good prompt response back, and when they need me out in the community, I'm there. And so November 5th, Tuesday, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., please consider Michael Flaherty, number 4 on the ballot. And thank you very much for the Vietnamese community. It's a great neighborhood, and I cherish that relationship. And for those that are not Vietnamese that are tuning in, let them know that I work for them as well. I pride myself in truly being accessible and being someone that is responsive to all of our neighborhoods.
Well, thank you so much
Thanks
for
for having me
joining
in to
our
VATV.
forum.
It's a great opportunity to be here.
And once again, we thank you for watching VATV. Any questions, comments, or contributions, please call us at 617-822-3717 or email us as vatv@viet8.org. We hope you have a wonderful week, and kính mời quý đồng hương đi bầu thật đông đảo vào ngày thứ Ba, ngày 5 tháng 11 sắp đến, để xây dựng một cộng đồng Việt Nam thật là vững mạnh tại thành phố Boston. And thank you so much for watching VATV.